are back in Studio C here at the Fox Den with Edward Duke. He's a defense attorney based in Bloomfield Hills. Good morning to you. Thanks for stopping in to talk with us about this.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. You had mentioned before the show to one of our producers that there are some changes that have gone into effect regarding boating and the consumption of alcohol.
That's correct. Actually, in January, Governor Schneider, signed into law that became effective March 31st, some significant changes in the boating under the influence statute.
Yes.
Basically bringing the boating laws in line with the motor vehicle laws as they relate to drunk and drug driving. One of the significant areas actually with the boating law is that it eliminated the possibility of someone in a canoe or a vessel, which was the term used under the prior statute, from being potentially prosecuted and convicted of operating a vessel under the influence. The term now is a motorboat.
Okay.
So that would seem to exclude those possibilities for those anomalies.
So if you get all blotto in a tube down the river and there's a sheriff's deputy waiting for you, you don't necessarily have to worry about being prosecuted?
Well, of course, there's a drunken disorderly statute.
Sure.
If the person happens to be a minor, you have a minor in possession issue. So,
and minor in possession, they're prosecuting those tougher now than they ever did before, correct?
Well, I think so, particularly when it comes to the probationary terms that judges are imposing, because a minor in possession prosecution, if it results in a conviction through a plea of guilty, is not a jailable offense. And there's a diversion program that's available for the young folks so that if they comply with all the terms that the judge imposes, there will not be a permanent record. There will be a non-public record, but not a public record. The problem, of course, is that for youngsters who are going away to college, if the judge places them on probation, he may or she may impose restrictions with respect to travel, vacations. So, for example, family has a trip planned in the summertime. If they're on probation, the judge may say no travel.
We've heard about this before. I know back when I was in high school, I remember some friends from school. I'm like, wait, what did you say? Your parents provided the beer for your graduation party? And back in the day, I guess that was not such a big deal. But now, I mean, that can lead to criminal prosecution. If you think that, oh, my kid's going to drink anyway, so I better have him here at the house rather than out there.
Well, it's a potential recipe for disaster, really. There are two ways that criminal responsibility can be imposed on a parent or a homeowner with respect to furnishing alcohol. One is the actual furnishing of it. You know, the parents have the idea that, well, my kids are going to drink anyway, just as soon have them here drinking. Of course, they place restrictions on their friends who can say you can't leave, but then someone slips out and there's a problem. So furnishing can impose criminal responsibility, but there's also a lesser-known statute that has to do with simply allowing the consumption of alcohol by a minor on your premises, which can also give rise to liability. And then there's the civil side of the equation that a lot of people don't think about, which is akin to the Dram Shop Act, so that if a parent were to have a keg, for example, and one of their children's friends consumed alcohol, went out, drove a motor vehicle, injured someone, there's a potential for civil liability in terms of a monetary award for compensatory or economic damages.
Now, Lee was talking earlier, he mentioned about a venue, I don't know if it was local or not, that they had started allowing parents to bring the kids to the concert to see a Taylor Swift or something like that. Kids get their seats, parents go to like a parents' bar area and get tanked, and then they get pulled over leaving the venue because they're driving their kids home half in the bag. Have you heard of this?
Well, certainly there's a child endangerment aspect to that.
That's what I was thinking.
That creates the issue because the penalties associated with child endangerment are certainly much more punitive. That also applies, actually, one of the new aspects of the boating law. If someone is operating a motorboat and is intoxicated and is an adult and they have children 16 or under, then there's the potential for child endangerment there as well.
So it's so expensive now to go through this process if you get a DUI. I mean, it's, what is it, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, something like that?
Well, it depends. Actually, it varies from court to court. Some of the expenses that are somewhat hidden within the context of the prosecution, the conviction, would be probation oversight fees. There are some courts that will place an individual on 2 years probation at $40 a month. So you have that cost in addition to fines and costs, driver's responsibility fees, victims' impact fees, plus the cost of perhaps an interlock device on your vehicle if the court imposes that as well.
Keeps you in business.
Well, it keeps us in business, but there are serious cases that need serious defense as well.
Right, and those are out there as well. So,
yes.
The name of your law firm is?
Duke Law Group.
Duke Law Group.
Duke Law Group in Bloomfield Hills, yes.
All right, well, we appreciate you taking the time to come in this morning. Hopefully somebody got some sound legal advice out of your appearance.
Well, I hope so. Thanks very much for having me.